The Hall of Famer Suzyn Waldman, a career that includes Broadway, national anthems, the first voice on WFAN, and believe it or not, the first guest I ever talked to when I did that first show over at FAN in December of '88. She's getting ready for the Yankees and the Mets. We'll do some of that here today, too, as she says hello. Suzyn, congratulations. How are you today, okay?
Oh, congratulations to you, Dougie. And you know what I remember about that show? Wasn't it? It was after a Knick game, because I remember being in the corridor of Madison Square Garden we used to do this stuff on payphones. And remember, I called you from that payphone. We all had a code or something. And that was the first time I ever talked to you. And we went over the Knick game, and I was in the middle of the corridor. And if it was December of '88, that was right after WFAN tried to fire all the women off the stage and off the air. And I got the union, and they sued them, and I kept my job, which is why I got to talk to you in December.
Wow. Well, I didn't realize that. Yeah, I think they played the Pacers that night, and it was a Saturday night game because I did the weekends, and you were on and did a tremendous, tremendous job. Well, listen, this is a huge honor for you, the trailblazing aspect of it. You've been such a grinder your whole career, still going strong. What's it mean to you when you got the phone call a couple weeks ago? Let me hear.
Well, it's amazing because of already who's in there. And, you were there most of the time. None of this was easy. And for somebody to say, okay, I guess maybe she's okay after 35 years is very gratifying. And the people that called and the young women that are out there now that maybe wouldn't have had a shot if I didn't get this chance, it's tremendous. It's just tremendous. And I know that I was thinking about this, Doggy, and I know that the people that are in there are the people that changed radio. And you're one of them because you were different from the get-go. And now people are imitating Doggy, trying to be like you. And that's what this means. I think you have to change things in this world to make your mark. And you've done that. And I hope I've done that, too, for a lot of people.
Well, you sure have. And you have a history of performing. You were on Broadway forever. Wasn't it Man of La Mancha? You can help me there. Yeah. And you did the national anthem. Was it before the All-Star game in Fenway, or is it a World Series game? You did 1 million national anthems in front of 40,000 people. How about that for a sec? Let me hear.
I did 1 million national anthems. I started that in the 70s because I was still in theater, and I wanted to go to ball games. And no one had realized that singing the national anthem was a way to get on television because you weren't on television. I just wanted to go ball games. And so I would call up wherever I was, Minnesota, Toronto, and say, hi, this is Suzyn Waldman, and I'm starring in Man of La Mancha. Do you need an anthem singer? And they'd go, yeah, I guess. And so I did that. And the first one that was really televised was I was in Pittsburgh for the last few months of the summer and 1979. So I got to sing in a lot of Pirates games. That was the We Are Family team. And the one that you played once with the curly hair, that was the game that Pittsburgh beat Tom Seaver to get to the World Series. And so that's why I just wanted to go to ball games. And that's how I did it for nothing. And then it became something else. So I did it, and the one in '86 was Game 7 of the ALCS against Anaheim at Fenway Park. Because before I did this, I am from Boston, and I used to sing a lot on opening day at Fenway Park.
Well, I didn't realize the Pittsburgh thing. I knew the Fenway Park scenario. How about in the booth? When you first started doing these Yankee games in the booth, I mean, that's a major scenario there with John. We know John's going to do 9 innings, and I know all about John, so he will allow me to say this. Sometimes you got to figure out where to creep in to make a contribution, and you have done that superbly here the last 15, 16 years. Tricky. Tell me how you've done that. Go ahead.
Well, you know what the thing is that, it's a very small booth, and you actually have to really like the person. And John doesn't have a mean bone in his body, and he's very, very generous, actually. And I've learned, I know when to shut up, and I know when I can jump in, and you learned, and this is our 18th year. You know what also it is, Doggy, by the time I got to get this Yankee job, everyone in New York was very familiar with me. My voice hit the airwaves in 1987, and I was then on Yes, and I didn't get to do this until 2005. So when I started talking, it wasn't people went, oh my God, who is that? Everybody knew who it was. So that made it a lot easier. And, and John he doesn't have a mean bone in his body. And we've been friends since I first met him in actually, I was his update person in 1987 when he came in and did a week during the All-Star break, replacing Pete Franklin. And I'll never forget that. This guy came in from Atlanta, and he stood up for 4 hours like this on the, like Gary Owens.
Yes, he does.
And he did for 4 hours, and I thought it was the most fascinating thing I'd ever seen. And I never left inside, and we talked. And he, by the way, John back then was some talk show host. Oh, boy.
Very good.
Oh, he was really good. And he was a little acerbic. He was a little mean sometimes. Gee, I wonder who took that over.
He took it from Bob Grant, because Bob Grant used to be like that, too. John was tough with the callers. There is no question about that. Very tough. How hard has it been? Is it back to normal again as far as being able to cover the team properly after the pandemic? Is it back to normal in 2022?
Yes, finally. The last 2 years have been the hardest ever. I mean, I understand, Chris. I'm not a player. When I want to analyze a pitch, which I can do, someone out there will still say, well, how do you know? I can do that, but I made my career with relationships with players and coaches and front offices and scouts, and that's how I got my information, and that's how I contribute, because I know what someone is thinking, and that's what I give. And those relationships were gone. They were just gone. And all that happened is that I was just sitting there and say, well, he swung at a 3-2 pitch, down and away, and he shouldn't have done it. I mean, or something, but, it was just so different. So I think the thing that I've always brought is humanity and what people are like. And now at least that, I think, is back. It feels like it's back. We're back on the road. I'm back on the bus. I'm back on the charter. I'm back in the hotel. And it seems like it's different, but it's all back to normal.
All right, how about this Yankee edition right now? We know about Judge's home runs. We know they've had an incredible run here. I still see some signs sometimes you don't love, and Houston did a good job on them. We'll see if they can hit the quality pitching at the end. Interesting 4 games, 2 now against the Mets. What's your take on this Yankee edition? You think this is a World Championship edition? Would you favor them against the Astros in a 7-game series? What do you see?
I don't see how you can favor them against the Astros right now. I mean, they haven't proven that they can that they can do this. The Astros are pretty much set. The Yankees need things, and I don't know what's going to happen in a week. Are they going to get that frontline starting pitcher? Are they going to get some bullpen help, because the bullpen's been a little iffy lately, and this injury to Michael King is really a bad one because he filled so many roles. And you and I both know, we've seen it before. You cannot pummel your way to a World Series. That isn't how it works in the playoffs. Right. And they are going to have to fix this pitching staff. I think that and there will be some changes, and who will probably be here and probably who will be gone. And Brian Cashman does a great job of having people walk in the door. I said to somebody last week, 2000, I remember everyone thought this team is dead in the water. And then one day David Justice walked in the door and everything changed. It only takes one person, not necessarily a hitter, but a pitcher or a couple of bullpen pieces. Brian Cashman knows what he's doing. I assume we'll be opening the door in a few days, and there'll be some new faces walking in. And then they'll see. I mean, it's really silly to say now how they look against the Astros. Are they going to prove that they can win at Minute Maid Park? I'm sorry, it's a big deal. And if they get home field advantage, I will feel a lot better about things. And they know where their holes are. Brian Cashman knows what it is. He doesn't need any of us to tell him what it is, and he knows probably better than most. If they make a few little tweaks here, I think it's okay.
Yeah, the Yankees-Astros be a hell of a series, and what a heck of a job for you, Suzyn. Congratulations. You deserve it. Enjoy the ball games here. Yankees-Mets has some sex appeal to it, so these will be 2 great games. You'll be part of it. Always a pleasure. Thanks very much here. Congratulations again.
And congratulations to you, Chris. Thank you so much.